Well, speaking on the condition of anonymity, an Islamic Jihad official told Reuters just moments ago that mediators have reached an agreement concerning Israeli civilian hostage Arbil Yahud. She will reportedly be freed before the next phase of releases set for next weekend. That announcement, of course, came as tens of thousands of displaced civilians in Gaza have been prevented from returning to their homes in the north of the territory, precisely because Yahud has not been released. For more on this, we're going to cross now to France 24's Mark Owen in Jerusalem. Hi, Mark. So apparently this deal has been reached. Pending confirmation from Israel, then what might the next phases of this ceasefire deal look like?
Pending confirmation, of course, the 29-year-old Arbel Yahud, who was kidnapped from kibbutz near Oz on October the 3rd, 2023, could be about to be freed. It was expected she would be freed in the first lot of hostages that came out, then the second lot. And of course, since she wasn't there, it's led to this doubting about the goodwill of both sides. At the same time, the Israel Defense Forces, Israel's military, moved into the Netzarim corridor to block Gazans trying to return home to the north to reclaim their former homes, the territory where they used to live, their neighborhoods, which have been reduced mainly to rubble. And of course, this has put the whole future of this ceasefire prisoner hostage exchange into some doubt. If Arbel Yahud is released when it's been announced, and of course it's all ifs and buts at this precise moment in time, it could be the biggest reassurance yet that things are going to resume along the phase as was required. 42 days for the first phase, 33 hostages released, along with roughly, I think it amounts to 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. When Arbel Yahud is released, it will be 30 prisoners that will be released. The exchange rate is 1 civilian for 30 prisoners, it's 1 military for 50 prisoners, and then it's renegotiated from then. So phase 1 then, if this goes ahead, looks like it is going to continue. But that said, and with other things you've been reporting on in your bulletin, there are so many other aspects going on around this negotiation that are raising many doubts about what happens next. The situation in Lebanon, where we have people returning to their homes at the 60-day deadline of the agreement to end that war, which was signed back in November between Israel and Hezbollah, people coming back on what was deadline day today, and they get fired upon. And as you say, some 15 people at least have been killed in that situation, which again raises doubt about the will of Israel and the whole situation. And then what's happened in the West Bank as well, with a house being surrounded there, a 2-year-old child, a Palestinian child, being shot in the head. It looks bad in terms of publicity, and it's as bad as it could possibly be for the people on the receiving end of what is happening too. So whilst things on the Gaza side of things with Arbel Yahud being released, and again, it's ifs and buts, with her being released, that looks like it's something reassuring regarding the agreement, but there are other aspects around it that raise doubt.
One of the things that's raising doubts about the more long-term future, I think you could say, for Gaza, Mark, is, of course, Donald Trump suggesting on Saturday that displaced Gazans should be sent to other countries in the Middle East. We've seen Jordan just react moments ago by saying it's out of the question for Gazans to be sent to Georgia. What kind of reactions have you seen, in Israel thus far?
It depends which side of the fence you're on, of course, doesn't it? It all tends to fall along those lines. I mean, look, if you're a businessman, it makes great sense, doesn't it, to clear out the people who are in the way, to send in the bulldozers and then redevelop and build an amazing new complex along the lines of the plan that was outlined last March by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, which would see the Gaza Strip redeveloped, turned into various gated communities, patrolled perhaps by mercenaries from the UK or the United States. And where would the Palestinians be? They'd be displaced from their homeland. That would be a forced displacement, and the way Donald Trump just described it, I think it would sound very much like that. And of course, forced displacement, I think, in any international law book adds up to a war crime. So there are so many reasons why this won't happen, shouldn't happen. I suppose if you've got some kind of development going on with the Palestinians involved, that would be a whole different negotiation. But as it stands, I think Trump's words, I think Hamas said it amounts to a war crime. They certainly said earlier that it was very dangerous what he's suggesting. And if you consider the countries that Trump is talking about sending these people to, and again, it's sending, it's like they're objects, the way he's describing it. You know, think about it. These are people who have a place, a territory, an identity. To be told you're just moving, it seems rather unhuman, let's put it that way. But talking about sending more refugees to Egypt, for instance, Egypt's already struggling to cope with refugees coming out of Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea. The economy there is having a real hit. They've lost so much money from the closure of the Suez Canal because of Israel's bombardment of the Gaza Strip. Something like $8 billion in revenue this year has been missing from Egypt's coffers. Meanwhile, the people of Egypt have rising prices, inflation is getting higher and higher, and there's great resentment of the refugees who they see getting some kind of aid and think that, well, why are they getting that when we're not? So it's a whole difficult situation that Donald Trump's commenting on. And one can hope that his foreign policy advisors will give him some kind of better guidance on how to move forward and find a better solution for the Middle East.
Especially as the rest of the ceasefire deal, of course, hangs in the balance. Mark, Owen, thank you very much.